Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I receive a lot of emails from Ahmadis who have become Muslim, and a lot of times they'll say things like, now that I've become Muslim, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm Muslim, I'm going to tell my parents to become Muslim, I'm going to tell the Murabbis that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was kafir, I'm going to argue and basically go out there and tell everybody this, and in a sense go out in a blaze of glory. And I'll be very honest with you, I personally don't think that this is the best approach to take. I think that we need to approach this situation in a very calm way, collected way, and look at the long term and not just the short term romanticism of arguing with these people. And personally, in my opinion, I think this comes down to two things. Number one, what you should do as a person, and number two, what you should do in terms of your relationship with the community and coming out to tell everybody that you have become Muslim. The first thing is this. Obviously, you are already declaring the Shahada. Ahmadis do say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Historically, when the Christians became Muslim, they were asked to repeat La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and they were also asked, it's not required, it's not required, but it's something that's recommended and traditionally was done, for them to clarify their faith. Christians used to say, Wa Isa Rasulullah wa kalimatullah minhu. And this is something which basically means that Jesus, or Isa, is the messenger of God and a word from him. And this clarifies their position to say that he's not God or the Son of God or anything of that nature. And as an Ahmadi coming to Islam, because there's so much overlap on an outward sense between the Ahmadis and the Muslims, I would recommend, for your sake and for the sake of maybe other Muslims, to testify that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is not a prophet of God and that he was a liar. Simple as that. It's not required. It's not something that you have to do. It's not fard. I'm not trying to make this a bid'ah. I'm just saying this is something to clarify your position from the Ahmadi community. Simple as that. The second thing that I would really recommend that you do, and this is probably the most important step, is that you find a local Muslim community, a masjid, something of this nature, and you associate with that community on a regular, consistent basis. This means things like attending classes on a regular basis, going to Isha every night. Every single masjid that I've been to has an after Isha community where they sit, they talk, they have tea or whatever, something like this. And it's really fun. I really enjoyed those people. They're really good. This is like the best time to hang out with the Muslims. You can discuss all sorts of issues in an open, honest way. And this is something I really recommend. Find a local masjid and spend time with it. Take classes there. Become friends with people. This is what you really should do. Develop yourself intellectually and spiritually in the Muslim community. Very, very important. The next thing that you should do, and the third thing, is that you should have what the Imam of our masjid referred to as personal private piety. Personal private piety. This is where you are alone by yourself. Nobody's watching you, nobody's looking at you. You could be in the comfort of your room, in your house, wherever it happens to be, even going for a walk maybe, where nobody's late at night, and to make dhikr of Allah. Recite the Quran to yourself. Nobody's watching, nobody's there. Recite the Quran, make dhikr of Allah. Something literally like, for one of my personal things is sitting and saying Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam for 30 minutes straight and contemplating on what that means. It doesn't have to be something like that, but it can be something of that nature. It doesn't matter what it is, but be small, start off small and be consistent in it. Start off small and be consistent. Consistency is more important than how many you do, how long you do this for. What's very important is that you're consistent. So this will clarify your belief, this will associate you with the Muslim community at a social level, and at a spiritual level it will work to purify your heart. These are the three things that I would recommend you do in terms of your own self. Now there's the issue of, should I go out and tell everybody I'm Muslim? In my personal opinion, I don't think most people should do that. I think only a certain select few people should do that. And who should do that? People who have what's called social capital. Social capital. Social capital is when you have some type of degree of credibility, of respect with the community that you were in, and so that when you leave that community and you become Muslim, it's not just like, oh, he's just an idiot anyways. He was just, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That you leave in such a way that it's like, wow, he left? Oh my gosh, maybe there's some, because he was someone who knew what he was talking about. From the Muslim community, from the sub-Indian continent community, I should say in specific, what they generally tend to value is education and jobs. This is like the two things. If you're in any gathering, they'll ask you, are you in school? If so, where? What are you studying? And what is your education? And what are you working in? This is what they ask you. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm Pakistani. I know the community. I know the culture. This is what a lot of people tend to have value in. If you are somebody who isn't doing very well in school, and I'm going to be very blunt and honest, if you're not doing very well in school, if you currently don't have any position, if you are somebody who has a bad reputation in any negative sense, you leaving will it'll be the Muslim community will get that negative reputation, and people will say, "Oh, he doesn't make a difference anyways. He was just some fill in the blank." That's what they'll say about you. For women who leave, and this is the unfortunate, sad reality, it will be blamed on your gender. So they'll say things like, "She's just a woman. She's just leaving to marry somebody." And I know this from emails that I've received. This is what indeed does happen. And unfortunately, it's a reality, but this is what will happen. So you have to be very careful on whether or not you feel that you should leave. I'm not publicly telling everybody that you've left. I'm not telling everybody you shouldn't. I'm saying that be careful in how you do this. The Jamia students I know, the Ahmadi missionary school, the people who were in that who left Ahmadiyya and they publicly declared it, that had an effect. Because these were people who were in their school, in their institution, they were studying the religion, and they became Muslim. That's what will happen. Also, what you can expect is if you do choose to leave, they will say things like, you were influenced by the mullahs, you were influenced by the Maulvis, etc., etc., this kind of nonsense. They will generally not attack your logic, your reasoning. They will attack either your family or some type of ad hominem attack. So they'll just say, oh, he was just influenced by these people. Or, like I said, if you don't have any social capital, they will attack your social capital, your lack of there. So what you need to do is you need to be somebody who has a degree of respect, a degree of credibility, who can leave publicly and openly and honestly. That's very, very important to have if you feel that you want to be the one who publicly declares it. Otherwise, honestly, he will not have any impact. And with that, like I said, always, always, always be firm upon your deen. Remember that the people in Mecca were treated worse than the Ahmadis treat the Muslims who leave. So, you should definitely keep that in mind. Look at our history and cultivate that. And the second thing is, don't do anything reckless. Always think about what you're going to do. Always treat your parents with respect. It's very important. Always, like I said, work towards something better. Be productive. Look at the long run. And this is very, very important in leaving Ahmadiyya. And with that, I very sincerely, for all the Ahmadis who have emailed me and who have said things like, I can't leave because of what will happen, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen you. And for all those who have left in our public, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your message more firm, and may it you bring many, many Ahmadis from Ahmadiyyism into Islam. And with that, assalamu ala man tabi'a al-huda. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barik ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.